Please welcome Roblox Vice President of Global Marketing, Neha Narang.
Hi, everyone. Please join me in welcoming back to the stage the one and only David Baszucki, aka Builderman. Hey. All right. So I have to say this is probably the most anticipated session of RDC, Builderman Q&A. So before RDC started, we asked all of you guys, what are your burning questions for Dave? And we also asked today during lunch, so I have all of those questions right here. So let's get started.
And I don't know what the questions are.
David does not know any of the questions.
Yay, and also I want to thank our marketing and DevRel for putting this thing on. It's absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. And we're not done yet, so.
Okay, let's go.
So, well, first question's from me, actually. We just saw a video, and there was one big takeaway. This world is ours for the making. What does that mean to you?
I've tried to capture a bit of that in the opening keynote with the notion that this is a unique gathering of some of the most creative and imaginative people in the world right here, right now. And together, between that triad of our user base, all of these creative people, and the technology we're building, we really are inventing a whole new way for people to come together. So I don't think it's lip service. It feels real to me.
Well, I mean, one thing you said, I mean, right now and also in keynote, is how much we're growing. So our community's growing, not just by numbers, but by breadth of content and experiences. So what will the future be for large game studios and indie developers? How are we going to support both as both grow?
Yeah, I shared that one stat, which is really surprising, in that our biggest studios are growing, and our number 1,000 is growing, and our number 10,000 is growing, and all of this on top of it. I think the growth is going to continue in many dimensions. There's going to be a lot more diversity as we have older, younger people more around the world, which is going to be exciting. As I mentioned, we're going to have dedicated developers building educational content. We're going to have developers who focus 100% on music and entertainment. And someday we may have developers who are helping large corporations build out their 3D immersive digital office. So I think there's just so much future growth and diversity there.
One common question on as we grow that was asked among our community is also on DevX and raising DevX.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts there?
Woo!
I told you, these are the burning questions.
Woo! So for those of you that remember, I think we started pretty small with DevX, and we raised and we raised and we raised. And then we added engagement-based payouts, which has been very exciting. But I do want to share internally how we think about it. And we think about building the most vibrant, largest economy, most diverse collection of type of experiences. 50 to 60 million people a day are participating in that economy right now, either through App Store payments, through prepaid cards, through credit cards. That's just a pile of cash coming in. We are very, very fastidious in how we distribute that cash. As Dan and Manuel mentioned, we try to run the most efficient engineering team we can. We try to run the most efficient infrastructure we can. We try to run the most efficient safety and trust organization we can. And when we are done with that, we try to move absolutely as much of that cash to the developer community as we can. And for those of you that watch our Wall Street presentations and whatever, we are not making 40% profit. We are trying to move as much of that money back to you. You can watch our Investor Day, and we will talk about the notion of more fueling growth and more fueling the developer economy. So we will give as much of it with the developer community as we can, and at some point, everything's on the table. Of course, DevEx, engagement-based payouts. We're trying to drive the size of the economy with advertising, so we are thinking about this a lot.
So just double clicking on that and the developer economy, you mentioned in your keynote, and even now, so many other opportunities. What are all the ways that creators and developers can make money?
I can share the visionary ones, right?
Yeah.
We have a virtual economy with Robux. We have engagement-based payouts. We talked about ability, if you so choose, to put immersive advertising units in your experience. We've talked about both making a wonderfully optimized economy in our catalog. We've talked that ultimately that catalog will move in experience. Well, our hope is that all UGC purchases are in experience rather than in our catalog someday. For those, for the far out sci-fi view of this, one only need look at the real world and see the different ways things monetize. In the real world, we go shopping, we buy clothing, we do other types of things as well. I think we'll see all of those merge into immersive 3D platforms. So Roblox someday might be a great place to buy physical as well as virtual clothing, for example.
And how big of a role do you think ads are going to play in this equation for developers?
I think we are in a wonderful position where we're not driven by unnatural forces. We can grow the most amazing company in the world without advertising, and so it gives us an opportunity to do it in the right way, in a safe and civil way, in an ethical way. But I do think it's an enormous opportunity. And so just like other things we do at Roblox, we will make it better, we will iterate, we will do it in a systems way. We will be creating the first immersive 3D advertising platform. And I feel it's going to make the platform more fun, if anything.
So you shared this even now and at last year's RDC on how Roblox is powering a true virtual economy, where anything can be bought and sold online to offline. Our audience wants to know, will it really be possible to shop from Roblox and have it delivered in real life? Can I purchase food on Roblox and then have it delivered to my doorstep?
Oh, that's the one we've always talked about, right? Classics on Roblox, work at a pizza place. I mean, we've talked about that forever, where you get your physical and your digital pizza. Without giving ship dates, of course, we're talking theoretically here, I would say, of course. How could it not, right? How did we used to order pizzas? We used to have to go there. For those of you that you might not remember, you would order your online pizza by calling the pizza restaurant on the phone, and they'd say, "Oh, hey, this is so-and-so pizza. Would you like a pizza?" And you would enter that by a telephone. Then the internet came along, and everyone said, "You'll never have credit cards online. This will never work." And now we can't imagine calling the pizza. We go to whatever, DoorDash or whatever, and order that. So we're in that same phase right now where it's like, oh, it's crazy to imagine in 3D we'll go to work at a pizza place and order the pizza. But so I can't tell you when it will happen, but I'd be willing to bet and promise it will happen.
It'll be the norm, hopefully. So a big announcement we made was on experience guidelines, which is coming out very soon. And so with experience guidelines, will 13+ experiences risk getting less discoverability or engagement?
Yeah, once again, heard from Dan, heard from me, heard from Manuel about how much focus our teams are putting on discovery. I think it's going to go the other way. When we understand how old someone is, what they're interested in, there's such a diversity of our users. I think we're going to better align all of that. I don't see it at all being a penalty. If anything, this will be one of the additional signals we'll use to line up things with discoverability. I think, you could imagine, well, I'll do better if I just make my thing all ages. And I don't think it's going to work that way. In the movie industry, we have a wide range of ratings. The market solves that. It's going to be exactly the same in our experience.
And the other side of that, alternatively, our 13 plus audience is growing so much. So how are we going to support and ensure that there's a lot of content for even this aged up audience?
Yeah, this goes back all the way to the day we released Roblox Studio. We, as I was talking about with Kevin, some companies are driven by innovation. They do big, hard things and they take a big leap. Releasing Roblox Studio was an innovation. We're just going to bet the whole company that the creators are going to build the content, not ourselves. We were validated in about 24 hours. For those of you that were there, I guess not many of you, that first day, we new and exciting creations. So yeah, I would bet the whole company that as our tools get better, as our economy gets better, as the creativity of our developers gets better, as search and discovery gets better, as our avatar system gets better, we will more than fill the desired content for those people. There will be so much opportunity. One way to think about it is if we had 10 times as many 17 and plus people on the platform, the economic opportunity would be quite attractive there. And I think we have a lot of savvy developers who know how to balance creativity and economy.
So now speaking of other announcements, so of all the things that are coming out in Studio, what are you the most excited about?
Wow.
You have to pick one.
So I'll be kind of funny. So there's enormous things coming out, and they're all like children. You love every one of them. So you really do. And you love the big visionary ones, the small itty bitty ones, all of that. I'm really excited about the highest quality anti-alias fonts we can get in the Studio user interface. And I think the reason is it shows we've got the heft to work on polish and quality. And I think there's an interesting phenomenon that if you have a 7-year-old car, not saying Studio's like a 7-year-old car, by the way, but if you have a 7-year-old car and the windows are a little smudgy and the tires are, whatever, and it feels very different than your 7-year-old car where the oil's changed, it's brand new tires, it's sparkling clean, it's just like, let's go.
Yeah.
And so I do think the polish, I'm just excited about that because it creates a whole psychological mindset of the product. So
Is Studio going to come onto mobile?
I think, oh, good. Wow, who's asking this? It's great. So there's many ways to put Studio on mobile. It's built in a big desktop industrial user interface thing. We're building a product that 1,000 people could use. My own preference for the way Studio goes on mobile is Studio's cloud connected. Our cloud APIs are magnificent. Our cloud APIs are accessible in experience, in addition, through Studio. And maybe Roblox, maybe someone else can create a Roblox experience. We've seen a few versions of these that function as a Roblox Studio on mobile. So I would like us to bootstrap it, build a Roblox experience that is Roblox Studio that works on mobile.
So other advanced features, such as mirroring, non-uniforming scaling, and modeling that are available on third parties. What's your vision for Roblox?
Wow. Mirroring, I don't know if that means self-view or if that means portals with a camera or what it means. So I'll just guess what mirroring means, and maybe it means modeling, like mirror that. I think all of this, I'm assuming this will happen in two ways. Once, the Roblox modeler, the core CSG editor, we've got a great team working on it right now, and the future of the operations we can do, primitives, meshes, how they can be combined together. We're going to build a world-class engine that does that. we're unique in the engine we're building, that everything we build is more difficult because we're trying to make it run in real time. You saw the demonstration of the lathe. We've been talking about that for 10 years. We want real-time operations, which is much harder than static time. As we build out more and more incredible modeling type technologies, those feel almost pretty straightforward as operations. A studio plugin could be built on top of that. Hopefully, if we build that, and I'm sure we will, someday that would include the Lua source that might do that operation.
So you mentioned in Keynote, Roblox rendering is available cross-platform, mobile, desktop, console, and supports all of these, and even entering VR. What's next? How are we going to grow across all these platforms?
Yeah, so we have shared, we're in a unique position where growth happens on multiple directions. Those of you that, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, if there's 4 dimensions of growth, that's 16x headroom. There's probably more than 4 dimensions, but around the world, all ages, different types of use on our platform, learning, playing, and the economy. On the platform side, something really special happened. I forget how long it was ago when the very first iPhone came out, and there was a time when HTML was a PC Mac thing. You did not run the web on your phone. There's this different thing called mobile web, and it was crappy, and no one ever used it, and they had flip phones. And all of a sudden, with that very first iPhone, and then pinch and zoom, that one operation, it was mind-blowing. That same HTML content can now run anywhere. It can run on a PC, a Mac, or a phone. We take that for granted, and I feel our vision on immersive, 3D, simulated, avatar, digital cloud stuff is exactly the same. It will run anywhere, different user interface, different camera control. We made the leap from PC Mac to iOS Android at a time when many people thought, oh, that will never work. I remember we had giant debates in the company, that'll never work. Of course it's worked. Console, of course, tablet, of course. Early Oculus, and Oculus Quest is an obvious next place to go. PlayStation is an obvious place to go. And then the platforms even get more interesting, right? None of these are ship dates or promises, which is an interesting thing to think about. And then the living room is an interesting thing to think about. There are many experiences that I can imagine sitting on the couch with just my remote, not even a game controller, having some interesting things in that experience. So I think there's just a lot of room, and 3D multiplayer is so powerful, I think it'll ultimately run everywhere.
Even things that don't exist now.
That's right.
So challenge for developers right now is exploiters too. And they want to know, they're looking for external tools to deal with this. What are Roblox's plans to add more tools here? Or advice on how to deal?
Yeah, so Dan once again showed some of this. We're starting to take this more seriously. We've always taken it seriously. You can argue we didn't take it seriously when we first launched Roblox 15 years ago, where there's completely unimpeded bidirectional replication on the platform. And literally on a Sunday, I would say 1 in 10 experiences I went into had been hacked through the client. There was no floor. I was flying through the air. It was really bad. So we've made some progress, but we're not all the way there for automatic dealing with competitive gaming right now. There's a lot of techniques we can do. There's a lot of client-side hardening that we can look at. I think I'm ultimately hoping we have a combination of things, including the ability to dynamically go to server authority when we want to. We do a lot of client-side things now for latency reduction. When I was doing the demo with Kiran and Mahesh, by the way, great job, guys. That was awesome. Loved it. When I was doing that demo, my avatar was rendering locally, and that gave me immediate feedback, and that's super important. But But I do think ultimately, if everything's server authoritative, it's a lot harder to cheat to some extent. So I think we'll come up with an interesting combination of these things. And we'll do it out of the box, so it works for everyone.
Well, speaking of the demo, which was just so cool and so amazing to see, identity, expression, communication is core to Roblox today and the future. So what is your vision for identity on Roblox and the role it will play in the future?
Yeah, identity is already important for all of us. We all bought all of our clothing. We all decided how to cut our hair. We all decided what shoes to wear. Like, for those of us that have hair, I'm looking at Dan. And we all make a lot of decisions around this. I think, just as I was talking about in education, sometimes there's more options in digital space than there are in physical space, with appearance, with how we present ourselves, with what we do. I feel whatever we can imagine we want to be digitally, we will be able to be. And we will have people working remote who can ultimately photorealistically be whoever they want to be. Because of that, it's almost interesting to imagine it'll be more a reflection of your identity because of the creative control we already
It'll
show.
be like your aspirational self too.
Your aspirational self will really be able, and we already see that in that that very primitive Roblox avatar system initially was such a place to create, even with a lot of constraints. So there's going to be a lot of freedom there.
So while we all love how much evolution there's happening with our avatars, I mean, my daughter spends more time on our avatar than her real life fashion any day. What does that mean for the classic avatar?
Yeah, it's interesting, right? That Roblox classic avatar, which when you think about it is so programmer art. It's so programmer art because the legs are 1 by 1 by 2, the body's 1 by 2 by 2, the arms are, I guess, 1 by 1 by 2, the head is that, the smile, I made in about 5 minutes on some cheesy paint program. It lasted for about 7 years, and now it's better and all of that. So what happened is that programmer art, as we grew, burned in a little as a look and feel for Roblox. Arguably side by side other things like the Lego minifig and things like that. And it's got its own unique look and feel. Juxtapose that with the future vision, Wreck-It Ralph, we are whoever we want to be. We have a huge range of avatars on the platform. In many social spaces, everyone comes as they are. In other social spaces, whether it would be Hello Kitty, Lego, The Incredibles, you name it, one can imagine them using amazing ML to take who you are and morph a bit for stylistic consistency. So if we were all in one of those worlds, I might still know it's you, but we all feel like we're part of that world. So we're going to see that wide range of it. And so ultimately, we have both of these things. We have this Roblox Classic and this vision of wide-ranging avatars. I think Roblox Classic will always be a preserved special part of Roblox. I can imagine there being a search or a sort for those experiences that are 100% Roblox Classic, and just the opposite. Everyone in there morphs into Roblox Classic, even if I'm a real photorealistic thing. So I think it's such a part of our fabric, it'll always be there.
And it's just the range is expanding. There's just so much more you can do.
Yeah, I think the way I would think about it is ultimately we'll have every avatar in the world. Yeah. Just as you might say The Incredibles, Lego, or Hello Kitty are special things owned by others, Roblox Classic will always be a Roblox special subpart.
So there's a lot of innovation happening with our avatars, also with voice and expression. So any plans to expand voice chat API?
Yeah, yes. We're just getting started. Roblox, in a sense, has the vision of being a cloud-based 3D simulation of the real world. And we talked about it forever. We want to be able to make a lumber mill. We want to be able to accidentally have a fire go off. We want to be able to build your go-kart, all of those things with your avatar. I think the same thing. So, yeah.
And with chat capabilities growing, we are growing.
I want just one final. I think the ultimate extension of this is there's enormous research to be done in the 3D simulation of audio, and there's enormous work our team is doing, where ultimately what we will have right now in Roblox is we'll put a couple speakers up, we'll put on microphones, we'll wire them to the speaker, we'll all be sitting in the back of the crowd, and when we're in the system, we'll both, for those of you way in the back, you'll hear us purely because these are loud speakers, but you'll be able to lean over and whisper to the person next to you. And we want to get that for free as part of the simulation, rather than as something you would hardwire up. So there's a lot of fun work to do there.
Do you think there's going to be, do you envision allowing people to talk to each other in different languages?
Oh yeah, this is just going to, I think, we will ultimately wear an avatar and a voice. If we went to the, if Marvel had a Spider-Man avatar, you would get the voice as well if you wanted it. So that's going to happen. You'll be more authentic if you so choose. That voice, from a civility and safety standpoint for younger players, may get understood and even filtered if needed. So, no matter who they're hanging out with, it's, very, very safe to be that way. And I think universal translation will just be part of it. So yeah, schools will go on field trips to Japan, and they'll hang out and learn about each other.
So this is an amazing audience, and we have developers, content creators, influencers. And so one, big question was also, what is the future of video and live streaming in experience?
Yeah, I'll jump way out to the future, where I think there's an enormous future. I think we can imagine all the things we do that are around streaming, around authoring a stream, ultimately being supported in 3D in addition to 2D, if we so choose. We could imagine a virtual Hunger Games competition on Roblox, where in addition to the contestants, millions of people are ghosting around because they want to watch their favorite characters. We could imagine one of our streamers ghosting around with a microphone, not interacting, but talking about the action of what's going on. We could imagine one of our streamers being a participant and following them in 3D rather than 2D. So I just think we're very early around what it means to be a streamer. As you said that, I forget the character in The Fifth Element, but I would imagine a scenario like that radio host who I think is absolutely awesome, saying like, here's a 3D stream.
Yeah. That'd be very cool. Okay, so we are running out of time, but there are a few more questions. We're barely touching the surface of all the amazing questions you guys asked, so we'll respond afterwards too. But surprisingly, Dave, two more questions before.
Let's go.
Surprisingly, so many people wanted to know about you personally. There's a lot of interesting questions. And I do want to end on a note on Dave.
Yeah, let's go.
So if Roblox didn't happen, what would you be doing right now? What would you do today?
Making a copy of Roblox.
And if you were to build a Roblox experience today, what would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. So there's a bunch of, I would say, really edgy things that I can't share on stage.
He's going to do the 17 plus stuff, okay?
What?
You're going to do the aged up 17 plus stuff. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. We could be talking here forever because they all want to hear more from you. But
thank you. Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Please welcome Roblox Technical